Hey, my name is Aries, and I am documenting my journey to get fit-ish. Not all fitness journeys are the same. I'm going to go ahead and say that none of the fitness journeys are the same. And that is both a blessing and a curse. I have been trying to figure out my journey for a while now. And I've needed to do that behind closed doors on my own without extra influence adding in. And I've kind of mentioned this before in previous videos. Maybe I haven't articulated it completely properly, or maybe it'll never make sense if you've never been through it. Everyone who's been on a journey is either still trying to figure out what works for them or has figured out what works for them and assumes that that's the answer for everyone, which is amazing that people want to offer up support and guidance and suggestions, but it's not always the answer for everyone. And that's what I've been finding out. I have been trying so many things. I've done the alternate day fasting. I've done intermittent fasting, which I still kind of do. I've done eating 3 meals a day. I've done eating 3 meals a day plus snacks. I've done no snacks. I've done high protein. I'm still doing high protein. I've done only home cooked meals. I've done prepackaged stuff. I've done order in catering. I've done Mediterranean. I've done keto. I've done, you name it, I've tried it. And that's only this time around. In the past, I've done the Weight Watchers. I've done the cleanses. I've done the isogenics. I've done the shakes. I've done all of it. Overworking myself, underworking myself, everything. And each one of those things has worked for somebody I know. And that's amazing. And I'm so glad that they found their thing. But for the last several months, I have been at a complete standstill. And I know that the weight on the scale is not the only thing that matters. And it's not the only thing that I need to see improved. But it's a tangible thing that I can point to and give proof of what has been going on. Because I haven't wanted to get on camera. I haven't wanted to take photos. I haven't wanted to take measurements. Because things have just felt so unbelievably out of control. Despite my best efforts, despite all of my hard work, determination, all of my presence and focus and ability going into this, it all didn't matter. I have been struggling. One of my last videos I did was that I wanted to work out every day for the last 100 days of the previous year. And I started that back in September. And that first month did see some improvements for me. And that's where it stalled. And I believe most of that was just the water weight or the, tiny little extra that I had been carrying on from literally doing nothing for so long. But once that little bit came off, that's when the real issues started to show themselves. And I as you can see here, stayed a consistent weight for far too long. I would gain and lose the same 3 to 5 pounds, if that. There were weeks on end where I mostly weigh in every day, but there was, times where the number would stay exactly the same. And it didn't matter if I intermittent fasted, if I ate high protein, if I hit my calorie goals perfectly. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if I worked out the day before, if I didn't work out the day before, if I did a double workout the day before, if I had 2 rest days. It did not matter. I tried it all. I put in so much time and effort and sweat and tears. So many tears. And that's when I realized there needed to be something going on. And after a meeting with my psychologist, he happened to question whether or not I had looked into where my hormone levels were. Because ever since I got pregnant and had a miscarriage, things haven't been the same. And it really got me thinking. So I did some research online, typical Google. And I couldn't believe how many symptoms of estrogen being off in the body I was admitting. So many. The weight gain in my belly specifically, the inability to lose weight, being tired all the time. Didn't matter how much sleep I got, didn't matter how much physical activity I did, there was no energy to go through the day. All I wanted to do was be still. I did more than that, but I had no energy to do it. I had 0 sex drive. None. I love my soon-to-be husband. And I have no interest. I was having headaches almost daily for no reason. The list goes on and on and on. So I went to my family doctor and I expressed all of these things. And the only thing that she wanted to focus on was checking my thyroid. I've had my thyroid checked in the past. It's always been fine. I wasn't concerned about my thyroid. I was concerned about estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. She didn't want to test those things. She only did a test for iron, B12, thyroid, and a few other things, blood sugar, blah, blah, blah. Her response was, if those came back normal, then her only other solution was to get me in contact with a dietitian. Which is a slap in the face. Because I have been trying so hard. And not just me. It's not just me that's been trying. Mike has been researching calories and macros and putting together meals and spending hours upon hours in that kitchen putting together perfect meals that were balanced and nutritious and homemade and high in protein. And everything we were doing was in it. We were calorie counting. We were macro counting. We were so committed. And to hear a doctor say, if your thyroid's not off, then you're just fat because you're not eating right, is so frustrating when you know how much work you've been putting in. So the test came back, and sure enough, everything was normal like I suspected. And so I went back to the drawing board because I wasn't going to accept that that was it, that that was my only answer, and that I wasn't going to get anything else. So I started researching home testing kits. And living in Canada has its benefits with its free healthcare, but it also has its drawbacks when things like this happen and they don't want to trust that you understand that something's wrong with your body and let you get the testing that you want to get done. It's almost as if our doctors feel like they have to pay for it personally or something. Whereas in the States, there's so many test kits that you can just order to yourself, or to your home and test yourself, or you can walk in somewhere and pay somebody and your tests are done instantly. So I'm not complaining that I live in Canada. I'm not complaining about a free healthcare system. I'm just saying that sometimes there are disadvantages to it. So when I started looking up at all these home test kits, everything was saying it only shipped or tested in the States. So I ended up finding out that a friend of mine is going through school right now to become a naturopath. And I had looked into a naturopath clinic, and the prices for it were astronomical. And I couldn't justify paying that much money just to get some blood tests done, when they couldn't guarantee me that a treatment plan was included in the initial pricing. And we're talking thousands of dollars. So I found out that she was a student to become a naturopath. And I asked her if she knew of any mail home kits. She didn't, but instead she informed me that her school does a clinic with fourth-year students who are supervised by qualified naturopath doctors for a much sorry, I have bronchitis right now. Much lower price. So reasonable. And she suggested that I hook up for an appointment like that, but until I could get onto that appointment, she highly suggested I try seed cycling. Never heard of it, had no idea what she was talking about, but she completely told me all about it, and I got ready. I got out to the store the very next day, bought everything that I needed, and got started. There was no risk in trying it, so why wouldn't I? Now, the premise of seed cycling, and please, I am not a doctor, I am not a naturopath, I am not a nutritionist or anyone in the field of anything that knows anything. I am just somebody who is doing this myself. So please take it with a grain of salt. I might not explain it properly. I might not even know what I'm talking about. All I know is that I've been doing this and I think it's been helping me. Seed cycling is in line with your menstruation cycle. And for the first half of your cycle, you add in ground up flaxseed and ground up pumpkin seeds. They have to be raw, no roasted, no salt, just raw, ground up, and added into your food for the day. Doesn't matter how, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when. I've been doing a tablespoon of each, but she said that at some point we could end up tweaking the numbers. So again, I'm not saying that this is what everyone needs to do. This is just what I have been doing. So for the first half, you add in those two seeds. For the second half of your cycle, you add in raw, ground sunflower seeds and sesame seeds. Yes. And what this does is, if your body is producing too much estrogen, one of those seeds is really high in fiber, and the fiber helps to extract the excess estrogen or progesterone from your body. The other seed helps mimic estrogen or progesterone in your body and tricks your body into thinking you're producing enough if you aren't. There's no risk in doing this. Anyone can do this, even if your hormones are level, which is what's incredible about it, because why wouldn't I try it? And they don't counteract each other. So the fiber doesn't counteract the mimicking of and whatnot. So I've been doing this for almost a month now. And I have to say it's been life-changing. I have had my first appointment with a naturopath. They also didn't want to actually test my hormone levels. And at first, I really struggled with that because my brain wants to be able to point to a number on a page and say, see, this is why you were struggling. This right here, that number right there is why this has been such a battle for you. But I've worked with my psychologist and I've worked with myself to reframe my brain and say that as long as I start doing the things that they suggest and I start seeing changes, then that is my answer. Then that shows and proves that something was wrong, that we were onto something, and that we're making the right changes to get my body back. Because I have felt trapped for so long. For so long. And for the first time in months, I am finally seeing movement on the scale. And I can't express how that makes me feel. And although I haven't done photos or measurements, I feel like my stomach is changing its shape, which is incredible. I am taking a supplement in the morning. I am taking a supplement before night, and I am taking licorice chews to help with heartburn, along with the seed cycling. And the majority of the changes, I believe, are coming from the seed cycling because the other supplements I haven't been taking long enough, and they aren't like a magical, like, you take them and now you're better. So I just can't wait to see how much better things progress. And the fact that there's been any improvement at all has been mind-boggling and such a relief, because it shows that me sticking with it, even through all of the trials and tribulations and struggles and heartache, has been worth it. I'm not out of the woods, not even close, not even a little bit, but at least I feel like there's hope again. And I had forgotten what that felt like for a very long time. I haven't wanted to be on camera. I haven't wanted to have conversations with friends or family or anyone about this because of how difficult it is to explain to somebody that it's a bigger issue than just not trying hard enough, because I've been trying so hard. And it all feels like excuses. It feels like, it sounds like I'm making it up, or that I'm brushing off the support or love or guidance or suggestions, when it couldn't be further than the truth. It's just that I've been trying to do this as guided and controlled as possible. So I am still eating high protein food, home cooked meals, as much as possible. I'm not going to not go out for lunch with a friend or go for dinner or whatnot, but I keep them to a minimum and I try and make good choices. Or I, do intermittent fasting and eat a smaller meal at home so that I have room for the calories for that meal out. And it seems to be working. I'm trying to avoid alcohol as much as possible. Not that I drink very much anyways, but if I go out with friends, might have a glass of wine or a beer or something. So trying to limit that as much as I can. And just focusing on good liquids, lots of water, high protein, balanced meals, and only eating when I am actually hungry. So for a while, we were focusing on trying to get as close to 1,800 calories a day with as much protein as 150 to 180 grams of protein a day, which meant a lot of time I was literally just force feeding myself to get to those goals. So now I am just eating protein rich meals and snacks, but only when I'm actually hungry. And if I'm not, that's okay. And if that means I don't hit those two goals, I'm okay with that, because I'm trying to listen to my body and just do what feels right. So yeah, I've been working out consistently, Orange Theory, mostly. Right now I can't because I have bronchitis, but it's been a constant battle. And like I said, I've been trying to do it behind closed doors, to keep my head in the game, to keep focused, and to really narrow in on what I need for me under the guidance of my naturopath and my psychologist. And I think that's sometimes what more people need to do. Because it's not always surface level. And if it is a bigger issue, like hormones being out of whack, it doesn't matter how good you eat, how many times you work out, how much sleep you get. It's a bigger battle. So if you're struggling, reach out to somebody, ask the questions, look into hormone imbalances online, see if this is something that you could be struggling with too, because although I don't know if I have my answers yet, the fact that what I have been doing has led to some kind of changes is enough for me to feel like I have gotten answers, if that makes sense. So again, I'm not trained, nothing. I know nothing about anything. I'm just me on a journey on my own. But if any of this sounds familiar to you, maybe read up on it, because it could be something similar going on for you. So that is where my hormone balancing journey is at so far. And I'm looking forward to what comes in the future and continuing on with it. I have a follow-up meeting with the naturopath again shortly. And I look forward to, just keeping consistent and sticking with it, and hopefully getting more results. So thank you for joining me for another one. I want to thank everybody who has subscribed to the channel, who has stuck around since the beginning, who has offered support and love, guidance, all of those things. Even though it sounds like I'm trying to ignore them, I do appreciate it. Just know that everyone is on their own journey, and sometimes it's more going on than what is said or told or shown or expressed, because sometimes you don't know. So thank you. I can't wait to see you on another one, and stay strong out there, guys. It's it's a hard battle, and we're all in it together. Love you all. Bye.